Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first one is titled, "Am I the butthole for leaving my cheating wife and her child for good?" I like to keep this as short as possible and leave out any unnecessary details. If you feel like you need more information, just ask. Also, English is not my first language, so my wording might come over a bit strange at times. So last week, due to a digital blunder, I did find out that my wife of 7 years has been cheating on me 5 years ago. When confronted, my wife did confess, and I further learned that our child is a result of said affair. Hence, it's not actually mine. Cheating is an absolute no-go for me, and she knows that. So, after I had the confirmation, I immediately decided to divorce, for which I will be filing soon. Now when it comes to my kid, something in me changed as well. I always wanted to have kids, but to me it's important that they are biologically mine. So, I decided to not only leave my wife but also her child for good. It will be up to the court whether I will have to pay alimony, and if I have to, I will. But I will cut all contact. I know it will be hard for the kid, and I know that the kid did nothing wrong. But neither did I didn't sign up for this, so I am walking out. My soon-to-be ex-wife and her infidelity are to blame entirely. Am I the asshole? A user in the comments said, "You have every right to leave your wife, and I think you should. But don't close yourself off to the kid. In his eyes you'll always be his real father because you're the one who was there when he was born. Make an effort to continue seeing him even if you don't have to pay alimony." Another user said, "NTA for leaving the wife, but it's a little concerning that you have no attachment to a child you have been raising and did believe was yours. For that you are a massive asshole. That child is innocent, and although your wife is to blame for the affair and lying, you are the one damaging the child by abandoning them." The next one is titled, "Am I the butthole for shutting my sister out after she told our mom something I admitted to her in confidence?" My sister, 15F, and I, 16F, lost our dad 8 years ago. 4 years ago, our mom remarried. Her husband came with 2 kids of his own, 11 meters, and 7F, and they have a baby together, 4M. I admitted to my sister a while ago that I hadn't been on board when our mom first told us she was getting married again, and that I really only accept it for her, but not for me. I admitted I don't love them or see them the same as I see her, mom or dad. And that I will probably always be detached because this is not the way I would have ever chosen my family to me. But I don't want to ruin mom's happiness. I admitted this to her because my sister always suspected. She noticed differences. Remembered how I would always invite her into my bed when she had nightmares versus not really doing anything like that if one of our step-siblings did. Or how I am affectionate with her and not them or our half-brother. And how I never really tell our mom's husband anything about me like I do mom, and how most stuff comes through her to him. She pressed and I was honest. I told her not to tell them because it didn't need to be a big deal. She promised she wouldn't. Well, she told our mom. Pretty much everything. And then my mom decided the 3 of us, me, her and her husband, need family therapy so they can figure out a way to get me to welcome them into my heart the way she wants me to. And now I'm stuck in family therapy with them trying to achieve a goal I don't want to achieve. And I am so pissed off with my sister. She told me she did it so we could be one big happy family, and I told her she betrayed my trust. And she can never ever expect me to come to her again because I know she won't keep a promise to herself. She was upset, and now she's even more upset because I am not the same with her anymore. The way I look at it is she broke my trust when I wasn't going to tell her anyway, but then she pushed and then promised to keep it and she didn't. My mom told me I'm being mean and that my sister did the right thing telling her. She told me I should have been open with her so we could have done therapy together sooner. I told her I never wanted to go to therapy with them and I didn't want this big deal being made out of it. She told me that regardless, I shouldn't shut my sister out and it's hurtful and mean. AITA? A user in the comments said, "NTA, Your mother and your sister are for trying to force something. Take a try at therapy and see if you can find a happy spot for you, and if it doesn't work you need to show your mother that if she didn't realize for over 4 years, it means that you are respectful to the rest of your family, and you have preferences, and that isn't a bad thing. Another user said, "Nah. You're 16 and your sister is 15. I am not going to insult your intelligence or maturity by pointing out how young you both are, but please keep that in mind. You sound mature for your age, and your sister sounds like a 15-year-old trying to understand the dynamic of what's going on and look to her big sister. She was misguided and wrong for what she did, but not malicious. Your anger isn't wrong or not warranted, but use that advanced maturity for some perspective. Your mom and stepdad are whatever, deal with the therapy, but be clear that you don't want to be there. Your sister on the other hand deserves a hug and a talk about how you and she are a team and need to have each other's back. She didn't do something to hurt you, she thought, with her 15-year-old brain, that she was actually helping." The next one is titled, "Would I be the a-hole if I turned in a group of doctors that initially refused to treat me for a life-threatening illness because they refused to believe it was possible for me to have it?" Okay, so for context, I am a disabled military vet from my time spent overseas. 36-year-old, female. I rely on the treatment from the VA systems for my healthcare, which in my personal experiences has always been wonderful in my area. A few weeks ago, I was rushed to the ER with what was the worst head pain I had ever felt, and it had come on in an instant. CT ended up being clear and it was diagnosed as a migraine. The next day is when hell started for me. Enter 2 weeks of near constant agonizing pain. A severely swollen left temple, bad jaw pain. My vision in my left eye was getting worse, seeing double, and there were other symptoms stacked on top of those. I had been requesting to be seen immediately by my GP. I have most of these requests backed up in emails, and was blown off. I had a strong hunch at what was wrong with me, even though, according to the wise Dr. Google, not supposed to get temporal arteritis until at least age 50. I just wanted to be taken seriously because I know my body. I feel I have a good grasp on my personal pain levels because of injuries I have suffered in the military, and this was the worst pain I have ever experienced by leaps and bounds. And it never relented. Finally, my GP saw me and instantly changed her tune. To start treatment, I was to get a biopsy of my left temporal artery. The ENT doctor called me to set that appointment up. Only he wouldn't. He told me I had an actual 0% chance of having this and I was wasting mine and theirs if I came it because I was too young. He made it clear that he was not entertaining the idea of seeing me at all and ended the phone call. It took another 24 hours of fights, emails, phone calls and being treated like crap to get the biopsy set up for the following morning. Hey, guess what? I freaking have it. I am being treated for it, but I have suffered permanent vision loss in my left eye because of the delay in treatment. Let alone what else, because I haven't even been fully informed on the extent of this disease yet. I want accountability. I want this drastic mistake to be learned from and other people not to suffer my same type of treatment. Only people around me are telling me my anger is too much. That I would be the asshole if I went after doctors' careers, really? Looking for the judgment so I can make sense of this all and make a decision. And oh yeah, I would have died as a result of this remaining untreated, and it could have happened at any time. So, that's what people are basing their opinion on. You didn't die, they ended up saving your life. It could have been worse. Thoughts? A user in the comments said, NTA. Report them, make noise, hold them accountable. You're extremely lucky to have come out of this alive, but the next person may not be. I'm really sorry this happened to you. I'm glad you caught it and made them listen, and I hope the treatment is as effective and painless as possible. Best wishes for your recovery. Another user said, not the a-hole, yes. Contact the patient advocate. Find a lawyer familiar with FTCA. That doctor needs to see consequences. Veterans frequently have odd malaise, Agent Orange, etc. If they are not able to keep their mind open for barely verbal and likely medical, internet illiterate patients, in comparison to you who is well-spoken and able to research. I'd say there is a good chance they have been complicit in a patient death before now. You have paid for your healthcare dearly, it had best serve you well. As should he. Thanks for the awards, guys. I feel pretty strongly about supporting our veterans and I feel very honored you have bestowed me with this, but please don't buy awards for me. Donate to Bees for Vets or another great cause. The next one is titled, WIBTA for going to HR about my secret nickname? Long story short, I'm a nurse at a hospital and I go to different floors as my job to help out. I have a pretty common name. Think Jessica, Amanda, etc. There are several nurses with my name throughout the hospital and sometimes multiple on the same floor. Today I was working on a hall with a new nurse who didn't know me yet. She commented on how it was weird that this floor had 3 Jessicas on it. She asked me which one I was. I guess she thought I worked just on that floor, and I told her my last name. Then she asked if I knew Jessica with the nipples that works on float pool. The charge nurse was nearby, and I noticed her eyes get kind of big and she looked nervous all of a sudden. I was confused for a minute because I had never heard this description and as far as I knew I was the only Jessica in float pool. It dawned on me that she was referring to me without knowing I am apparently Jessica with the nipples. I guess this was just a known thing about me. 'Cause that nurse avoided me like the plague all day and so did everyone else. The charge nurse tried to make it into a joke with me at lunch and I laughed to hide my embarrassment, but I am mortified. I had noticed my nipples sparingly in the bathroom mirror and thought it was just a rare thing when cold. I guess my nipples show through my sports bra and scrubs on a regular enough basis that it's become my secret identifier. I told a friend I was thinking about going to HR about this, but they said it was obviously a harmless identifier that I was never supposed to find out about, so it should have been no harm no foul. The same as Jessica with red hair, etc. I feel like it is not harmless though to use an identifier that is so embarrassing and made me the butt of jokes. I think I could be the because I don't know what HR would do and what if it is too extreme. I don't want anyone fired. ETA. Holy moly, I did not expect so many comments. Thank you for all of the NTA judgments and advice. I don't think I'll be able to reply to everyone because life, but I'm reading it all and considering. I'll try to post an update at the end of my post once I make a decision on what to do. AITA 2. Hey guys. Not sure if Reddit gives you a notification about updates to posts you comment on, but here is what I've decided since I posted this. First, much to my shame, I am a very non-confrontational person, so I did not confront anyone. Due to this, I also decided not to go to HR despite the overwhelming response telling me to here. After thinking about it for a day, I decided there wasn't much that HR would be able to do without just causing me further embarrassment and making the whole workplace awkward. I came home to some new bras my hubby bought me that fit all the criteria I wanted for bras, but I just hadn't looked very hard previously. He got me a size up from what I already had and they turned out even more comfortable. I'm currently not talking to my friend I'd mentioned because he was really insensitive and even brought up a time from our teen years where someone untied my top in the lake, and everyone got a great look at my pepperoni nipples when I came out of the water. I also put in some new applications to local places for a new job and hope to be leaving this place soon. Thanks for all the input. Sorry I couldn't respond much between work and family once I got home. A user in the comments said, NTA. The nickname is unprofessional and sets a bad precedent for the culture. In fact, it seems like you have 2 informal nicknames and yet some people choose to use the borderline harassment one when float pool is enough to identify you alone. Another user said, NTA, you need to talk to your boss and to our. This is a form of harassment. Instead of calling you Jessica with the brown hair, or short Jessica, or any other innocuous identifier, your colleagues picked a secret sexual one. And they know it's wrong too because they kept it a secret and they are being squirrely about it. The next one is titled, AITA for not paying my uncle back? My parents and I, F14, are visiting my uncle and cousins, 14 meters and 11 F. My parents told me that whatever I forget to bring, I have to pay for myself. My period started 2 weeks early on the first day here, and my parents said they were too tired to take me to buy pads and tampons. I asked my uncle to drive me to Target and told him I forgot a couple things. He said okay and drove me. I bled onto the seat in my uncle's car, and my uncle figured out why we were there pretty quick. He bought me pads, tampons, chocolate, chips, a heat pad, and took me to Starbucks. I tried to pay, but he wouldn't let me. When we got back to his house and my parents saw that I had a lot of stuff, they asked me how I was able to pay for it all. I lost my job in January and haven't found a new one since. I told them my uncle paid, and they started yelling at me about how I went behind their backs and broke their rule. My uncle told me to go to my room. I'm going to live here during the school year because there's this really good private school by his house and he's offering to pay my tuition, so I have my own room here, and that he'll handle my parents. He says that I didn't do anything wrong, but my parents are still really mad at me, so I wanted to know if I was the asshole. A user in the comments said, "NTA, you're only 14 and you had a situation at hand that was completely out of your control. You obviously needed stuff for your period. Your uncle was being nice and helped. Plus, you offered to pay, and he didn't allow it. It's not like you went out of your way to add things that weren't a necessity." Another user said, "NTA. I don't even know where to start. First, your uncle sounds like a great guy, keep him close. Next, your parents are assholes for multiple reasons. 1. Long drives suck, but if my daughter needed tampons or pads, we'd be heading to the store without question. 2. How could your parents treat hygiene products as if they're a luxury? As a kid, you shouldn't have to pay for any of that unless it's an emergency and your parents aren't around. 3. They said you went behind their back? What kind of manipulative assholes are they that asking to get tampons is betrayal?" This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.